Not long after I turned 40, I faced a tough divorce. It crushed my finances, it hurt my business, and it almost cost me a relationship with my daughter. And I hit rock bottom here. It was the lowest point of fear, despair, and loneliness in my life. All my old insecurities that I'd buried came back to me, and I just started feeling very insecure about myself. My self confidence and confidence with women were completely gone, and I mean shot, because I'd failed at the main family relationship. I thought, how will I ever do better than this? One thing that troubled me a lot was the fear of rejection. This stemmed not only from the toxic relationship I'd recently experienced, but my entire history with women from my youth. I was afraid of holding confident eye contact with attractive women. I was afraid to ask women I met on a date, and I was always in the friend zone, giving women the time of day and my attention, but getting no sexual interest in return. And man, it frustrated me. Even though I felt scared and thought there was no way out, I found a simple and logical method you can use today. You'll regain self confidence, you'll reverse your fear of rejection, and begin dating again. This won't be some 3 tips to cure anxiety nonsense, because that doesn't work. This will need input from you. And if you're not ready to commit, to take action, or make a change, then this video isn't for you. Adios, amigo. Move on now. If, however, you're in your 40s or early 50s and you want to know how I overcame this, you're in the right place. And if you put my tips into action, you'll find this video helpful. So let's dive in, man. Now, if you don't know me yet, I'm Dan Gibson, and for the last 5 years, I've been helping hundreds of great men unlock their deep, hidden self-confidence, start meeting new, attractive, loving women so that they can find the love that they want and deserve. And if you follow me at dan.gibson.dating on Instagram, there's a link in the description, you'll see heaps of different reels there that aren't on YouTube. In this deep dive video today, we are going to completely blow the lid off the fear of rejection and break it down so you never have to fear being rejected by a woman again. You can free yourself from the chains of this paralyzing fear, unlock your deep hidden self-confidence, kick the rejection monkey in the ass, and start meeting gorgeous women who want to get into a loving relationship with a great man who loves them back. A man she can look up to, love, nurture, care about, and give back to him in a relationship as much as he has to give her. Now, give me a thumbs up on this video if that sounds amazing to you. Go ahead, do that. The problem. So what's the problem here? You're a good man. You always have been. You did the right things. You were kind, loyal, dependable. You put her first. You sacrificed. You gave. You compromised. You did everything you thought a good man should do, and yet it still wasn't enough. She left anyway. And when she did, it felt like the ground ripped out from under you. Like everything you gave, every moment, every sacrifice, every piece of yourself meant nothing. Now you're standing on this new world, single, alone, looking at the dating scene like it's some foreign brutal train wreck, wondering, how the hell do I even do this? You think I'm too old for this? I'm out of my depth. What if I make a fool of myself? What if I get rejected? Because deep down, there's a fear you don't say out loud that if she, the woman you gave everything to, didn't want you, why would anyone else? You feel it when you're standing at the bar, watching other men talk to women like it's easy, like it's nothing. You feel it when you're swiping through profiles, second guessing every message you send. You feel it when you think about walking over to her, but that voice in your head says, don't, you'll just embarrass yourself. It's safer to stay invisible, to not risk it, because rejection, it doesn't just sting, it confirms the fear that you carry, the fear that you're not enough, that you've already been weighed, measured, and found wanting. So you tell yourself, I'm fine, that you're better off alone, that it's not worth the risk. But deep down, you crave that connection. You crave that spark. You crave to be desired, not for what you give, but for who you are. But that fear of rejection, it's like a cage. It's keeping you stuck, watching life pass you by, wondering if you'll ever feel that excitement again, if you'll ever find someone who sees you, wants you, chooses you. And every day that you stay silent, every day that you don't make a move, the walls of that cage get tighter. Now, here's the false belief. You believe that if a woman turns you down or ghosts you or doesn't match with you on an app or doesn't walk over and say, hey, you're cute, you want to date me? It confirms every fear that you've carried since your breakup, that you're unattractive, undesirable, unworthy, that something is wrong with you, that you're a failure with women, you're a failure with relationships, and as a man. You believe that this is rejection and that it's personal, that it's a judgment on your worth as a man. And you tell yourself, if I was taller, younger, better looking, if I had more money, more muscles, more confidence, maybe then she'd just want me and make it obvious. that if she says no, it means that you've failed. And it's not just about women here, man. This is about what rejection represents: failure, humiliation, proof that the man you are isn't enough. And after giving so much in your last relationship, and after being dismissed, disrespected, ignored, overlooked, and treated like you don't really matter, and still left behind, that fear cuts deep. It feels like rejection isn't just about this woman, it's about being rejected by life itself. So it's easier to avoid it, easier to stay back, stay safe, stay unseen, easier to tell yourself it's not worth the risk. Because at least if you don't try, you can't be rejected. And if you can't be rejected, you can't be reminded everything you fear is true. But here's the reality, and it's the shift that changes everything. Rejection isn't real, man. It feels personal, but it's not. It's not a judgment on your worth as a man. It's not confirmation that you're unattractive, undesirable, or destined to be alone. Rejection doesn't even exist. Rather, hearing no is simply a filter and a learning opportunity, nothing more. Think of it like panning for gold. You scoop up the dirt, you shake it, put the water on it, and most of it just washes away and there's no gold in the pan. That's not failure, that's just the process. You don't cry over the dirt. You get better at choosing which dirt to shake, and you get better at shaking it. You keep shaking, knowing that with each pass and each shake, you're closer to finding that gold. And it's the same with women. Most won't be the right fit, and that's normal, that's natural. Even the best, most successful, most attractive men in the world hear a no. You have to open a lot of oysters to find pearls. And when you open an oyster and don't find a pearl, you don't feel rejected. You simply put it down and you look for the next oyster. I know this because I lived it. All through high school and my 20s, I was paralyzed with fear. I thought rejection meant something about me. The paralysis meant I never took the volume of action with women required to get the sex and love that I wanted. And because in my fear paralyzed mind, getting told no was proof that I wasn't good enough, that a no shone a hard spotlight on all of my insecurities, like my tiny height or my missing fingers, and proved I wasn't worthy of a woman's desire. So I stayed quiet, I stayed safe, I stayed small. What did I do? I took drugs to numb the pain and pretend that I was fine. And I missed out on experiences, on connections, on living, on women. If only I knew then what I know now, life would be so much different. But then I realized something. I realized that rejection isn't real because my worth isn't up for negotiation. It's not in her hands, it's in mine. I realized that even Brad Pitt got rejected. You know, he lost Angelina Jolie after all. So if a guy like him can get a no, why would I take it personally? And from that moment, everything changed. I stopped fearing rejection. I started having fun. I started expressing myself sexually and fully without holding back, without trying to be perfect. Because I knew that every no wasn't a loss. It was just the next step towards a yes. And I was learning every time. And I realized this: when you let go of the fear of rejection and you realize it isn't true, you unlock freedom. Freedom to be bold, freedom to be real, freedom to connect with women in ways that make the earth shake, ways that actually matter. Because rejection isn't real, but regret, that's real. Now, let me tell you about Stacey. This was a man who, on the surface, had it all together: high level job, boss at work, controlled, respected, leading teams, making decisions. But the moment he walked through his front door, he said it himself: I hung my balls on the door every time I got home. Because in his relationship, he wasn't the man. He was dominated, walked over, silenced. He lived in fear, not just fear of conflict, but fear of rejection, fear of not being enough. And that belief didn't come from nowhere. Stacey grew up with parents who drilled it into him: you're not enough. You need to be more, be better, change. His dad was like a firecracker, always ready to explode. And his whole childhood taught him that love had conditions, that he had to earn it, that his value was negotiable. So he learned to play small, to be agreeable, to avoid rocking the boat. And that fear followed him into adulthood, into his marriage, into how he let himself be treated, and into every relationship after that. By the time we met, Stacey couldn't even look women in the eye. He wasn't living, he was surviving. And worse, he was plowing head on into another relationship that was set to repeat the same nightmare, only 10 times worse. Because his fear of rejection wasn't about women, it was about him. It was about the fact that he didn't love or respect himself. Because when you don't respect yourself, you'll settle for anyone who tolerates you. You'll accept being walked over. You'll accept being dominated and controlled. But we broke that cycle bit by bit, step by step. We rebuilt him. Exercises that forced him to face himself, to see day by day that his worth was never tied up in who liked him. His worth wasn't tied up for negotiation. His value didn't rise or fall based on approval. His worth was rooted in how much he loved and respected himself. And when that clicked, everything changed. Now, Stacy approaches women fearlessly. He says what he wants. He doesn't give a fuck if it lands or not because rejection isn't real to him anymore. He knows who he is. He knows what he wants. And if a woman says no, he just laughs because he's learned that every no is just another step towards the right yes. That's the power of breaking the false belief of rejection. And that, my fellow men, is what freedom looks like. Imagine learning to ride a bike. You take the training wheels off and fall. You scrape your knees, but each fall teaches you balance. Eventually, you're riding free. Rejection is the same. Each one sharpens your skills and builds your strength, empowering you to do greater things. So here's your new mindset and belief. Rejection isn't real. It doesn't exist. You take action and you either get the result you wanted or you learn something. Either way, man, it's a win-win. It's not a verdict on your worth. It's just feedback, a filter. It's removing what isn't meant for you so you can find what is. And it's a learning opportunity. You will learn something by taking action and seeing how the cards fall. It doesn't mean anything. Your worth isn't decided by who says yes or no. It's set. It's not negotiable. And the man who knows his worth, he's untouchable. He doesn't need to be chosen. He chooses himself. He doesn't chase approval. He moves boldly, knowing the right women will be drawn to his confidence. And when the false belief of rejection loses its power, life opens up. You stop filtering, you stop hesitating, and start expressing yourself fully because every no just clears the path for the right yes. Here's what to do next and some practical action steps for you. Number one, face it head on, man. This week, approach 3 women in person. Start small, just a simple hello, strong eye contact, a compliment, a comment about the moment. The goal isn't to win something. The goal is to act. The action is the win. Number 2, detach from the outcome. Before each approach, remind yourself that her response says nothing about your worth. You're not there to impress, you're there to express. 3, reframe the no. If you get a no, good. That's proof you're in the game, proof that you're growing. Laugh it off and move to the next one. Every no is one step closer to a yes. 4, reflect and learn. After each approach, ask yourself, did I hold back? Did I express myself fully? What did I learn? This isn't about winning. It's about building the muscle, man. And 5, repeat relentlessly. Do it again and again until rejection doesn't scare you, until it feels normal. Because when rejection loses its power and vanishes to nothing and replaced with, oh, there's an epic learning opportunity over there, you become unstoppable. Now, the paralysis of fear of rejection can be immense. I want you to go and try this for yourself and have some fun with it. If you succeed, awesome, you're on your way. If you find it impossible and you'd like some help implementing this and other rejection busting methods, I would love the pleasure of helping you with that. So that's all that I've got for you today. If you went through a tough divorce or breakup and you feel stuck trying to meet new women for love because you fear rejection, I can help. I've guided other men in your situation to meet lots of new women and find amazing girlfriends in 2 or 3 or 4 months. Check the first link in the description below. You can book a complimentary, obligation-free, one-on-one coaching session with me and see if you're cut out for my Real Men's Dating Academy and if you're cut out for busting your fear of rejection for life. Peace, brother. I love you. Godspeed, and I'll see you in the next one.